Well, good afternoon, viewers. Today we have a 2019 Toyota RAV4, and the complaint was the vehicle stalled a couple of times on the customer while they were driving it. Customer used a code reader and retrieved a code for low fuel pressure. I see there's a number of warning lights on, the check engine light on, collision avoidance light, mitigation light on. Yeah, so blind spot monitor, traction control. Visit your dealer. Well, we're going to scan it and see what kind of codes it has to report. So this is a new vehicle record. I don't think I've scanned this before. I got the vehicle idling. Shouldn't be a problem. If necessary, we'll put a battery charger on it. Should auto ID. 47,000 kilometers. That's pretty low. So let's do a network code scan of all the controllers. Apologize for the pump running in the background. Fuel rail pressure sensor low signal stuck in range. So do we have a failing low pressure fuel pump? Random cylinder misfire. P0300 cylinder 4 misfire. Well, if it had low fuel pressure, it could lean out. Fuel rail pressure in the cruise control. Same, that's the ECM. Are we through yet? No, 24 computers so far. See the status bar going across the screen here. Well, that was painfully slow. Analyzed 29 computers. Got the fuel rail pressure sensor, random misfire number 4. And in the OBD2 side, the P107B. It's funny how it reports it differently on the OBD2 side. That's what he gave me, a P107B. But actually it's a P107A-2A code. So we're going to have a look at what causes that P107A-2A code. Let's load the vehicle in Identifix and see if there's any cases on it. I suspect a failing low pressure fuel pump. So I've loaded the vehicle VIN number in Identifix. And we're going to do a keyword search for P107. How come that didn't type? Well, I got a stuck key on my keyboard. So one of my keys was stuck on the keyboard. So P107A. First and foremost, we'll see if there's any TSBs on it. No, but there's one hotline archive. Check the low side fuel pressure when the problem happens to see if it becomes erratic or drops lower than 50 psi. If it does, the fuel pump in the fuel tank is likely at fault. Well, I don't even know if this has got a fuel pressure test port, but we're going to investigate that. But I'm going to go back to the scan data and have a look at freeze frame data and see if it has a fuel pressure PID in the freeze frame data. So we're going to go into the engine control computer. It's still running, by the way. It's not acting up right now. This is why it's important not to clear the codes until you've viewed any freeze frame failure records. Confirm. Let's check this fuel. Let's check this recording and see if it's got. I think this one gives you 2 or 3 frames before and after the fact. I could be wrong though. We'll find out in a second. No, it doesn't. So let's see. Engine oil pressure. Engine speed 895 RPM, engine load 24%, coolant temperature 163 Fahrenheit, running for 46 seconds, so it wasn't running very long before it started misfiring on cylinder 4. Target fuel pressure 76, so if it's got target fuel pressure, it should have actual fuel pressure. Target fuel pressure, PSI, high pressure, 346, but the target pressure was 346, but high pressure fuel pressure was 955. That doesn't make sense. Oh, low fuel pressure. Here it is, here. Can't see. 1.4 PSI. So I suspect the fuel pump is failing. I asked him if it was out of gas and he said it wasn't. It's got a half a tank of fuel in it now. I wonder if there's a pressure regulation. No, this is returnless. I think it's mechanical returnless. No, it can't be. Not if it's got a target and an actual fuel pressure. It's got to be electronically controlled. I'm going to do some research. So this is a dual fuel injection system. It has high pressure direct injection and port fuel injection. So there's the fuel feed line coming into the high pressure pump right here. And it goes into the high pressure pump. It comes out as high pressure there, but it also goes to the low pressure fuel injection fuel rail on this line here. So we could theoretically check it here or here. This is a sort of a nylon line, so it's not very flexible. But given the fact that it reported low fuel pressure when it wasn't actually running out of gas, I would say that we have a defective fuel pump. I don't know where it monitors the fuel rail pressure. It must have a fuel rail pressure sensor on the low pressure fuel rail. Oh yeah, there it is down there. Wanted to put this magnetic trouble light on the hood, but it's aluminum. So I'm going to do some research and probably will be replacing the fuel pump. It's accessible under the back seat. So if this thing was running on the port fuel injection system at the time, the high pressure system is not injecting fuel. The high pressure system would be an actual hot soak situation. So the actual fuel pressure would go up higher because of the expansion of the fuel. I noted that on a 3.5 Ford EcoBoost. It caught me off guard as to why the desired and actual high pressure fuel pressure didn't match. But it was because it was running on the port fuel injection system. It might actually say that somewhere in this data list as to what fuel system it's running on. There's so many data parameters. It's misleading, confusing, easy to miss them. I'm going to look around. So I'm looking at current data while this thing is running, and it's in the primary data list 1, it says the injection mode is port right now, and the injector on time for port number 1 injector is 3,780 microseconds or 3 milliseconds. And high pressure fuel pressure right now is 3,675 PSI. And you notice the high pressure pump discharge rate in milliliters is 0. So it's it's idling in port fuel injection mode, and that's why the high pressure fuel pressure is so high now, because it's in a hot soak situation. So I built a custom data list, and I can see the in-tank fuel pump control duty cycle is at 15% right now, and desired low pressure fuel pressure right here is 43.5. Actual is 40 to 42. It's fluctuating. It's probably due to the injection pulses. Here's the high pressure fuel pressure again at 3691. Target high pressure fuel pressure is 2900 psi. But again, it's running on the port system right now. One of these data parameters would be the, injection mode is port. So I'm going to let it run for a while, see if we can catch it in the act of dropping fuel pressure. I don't need to put a fuel pressure gauge on it because it's got a fuel pressure sensor, if we can trust it. So this low pressure fuel pressure of 40 to 46 psi and desired at 44, if they deviate, then the pump is failing likely. I'm going to read the theory of operation of the low pressure supply system while I let it run. So it's just sitting there idling, and I heard the engine change the sound of the way it's running, and I noticed it went to direct injection, and now it says either injection. Now it's gone back to port. You can definitely hear the high pressure fuel injection system when it's firing the injectors. The injectors are quite loud. That's kind of interesting. And the high pressure fuel pressure is 340, and the actual is 2863. Switching between port and high pressure injection automatically. See if I can catch it again. Well, that's interesting. This case suggests to check to see if the fuel pump has been replaced under extended warranty from Toyota. Related documents, fuel pump class action. December 22, a settlement of claims of certain low-pressure fuel pumps was approved by the federal court. Toyota agreement to provide customer support program for certain 14 to 20 model year vehicles originally equipped with low-pressure fuel pumps repaired under safety recall. 20TA02. This is not a recall or a service campaign. It was provided to reassure owners that Toyota stands behind the reliability of our vehicles. So I better talk to Toyota and see if there's any outstanding. It didn't come up as a TSB, but let's do a keyword search for this. Oh, okay, that's a photograph. 20TA02. I'll search for that. So I couldn't find that recall notification 20TA02. So I did a Google search for it, and I found it on Google, but Identifix didn't have a listing for it. What is the condition? The subject vehicles are equipped with a low-pressure fuel pump which may stop operating. If this were to occur, warning lights and messages may be displayed on the instrument panel, and the engine may run rough. You think? This may result in a vehicle stall, and the vehicle may be unable to be restarted. If the vehicle stall occurs while driving at higher speeds, this can increase the risk of a crash. Check engine light on. Vehicles included, October 20. 19. So I'm going to have to check with Toyota to see if this is involved in this recall and if it's have been done. And this is a US recall, so I don't know if it applies to Canadian vehicles, but it may. NHTSA is US, National Highway Traffic Safety Association. But we're going to get a hold of my contact at Toyota and see what he has to say. So that 20TA02 recall applies to tons of vehicles from 2017, even as early as 2014 apparently, to up to 2019 or 2020, depending on the model. I can't find it in Identifix. I did a keyword search for fuel pump and it doesn't come up as a TSB. I went into the actual TSBs and NHTSA recalls are grayed out. No matching documents in the database. Why not? Identifix. What's up with that? That's not very impressive. If I didn't catch that, I might have put a fuel pump in this at a customer cost and it may be covered under that recall or extended warranty policy. I'm sure that it's going to be $1,000 repair anyways. Regardless, I'm still waiting for my contact from Toyota to call me with a VIN breakdown and see if there's a recall outstanding on this thing. So it's been running for about an hour and I closed the hood a few minutes ago and I noticed the fuel pressure desired went up to 76.8 and the actual fuel pressure is remaining about the same. The duty cycles increased to 19% where it was like 14% before. It's probably doing that to minimize the chance of a vapor lock occurring by raising the fuel pressure. I talked with my contact at the Toyota dealership and he said this recall does apply to this vehicle, but it was done in May of 2021. Now he says it's very likely that the O-ring on the outlet part of the pump, because the pump is only serviced by changing the pump assembly inside the tank. I was doing some research looking here. Here's a picture of the pump. And there's a picture of the outlet O-ring. Now I might have an O-ring like that, but I'm going to wait until Monday and see if the dealer has an O-ring. And I'm going to see if I can get a pump for it as well, just to be proactive. But if I can see something wrong with the O-ring, I will just change the O-ring. But if I can't see anything wrong with it, I'll put a new pump in it as well. The local parts store that I normally buy parts from doesn't show a listing for a fuel pump. Napa does, but it's a complete assembly and it's aftermarket and not cheap. I think it was like $1,000 retail. Not that the one from the dealer is going to be any cheaper, but I don't suspect it'll be as pricey. $908 Canadian, so that's like 500 American. So I'll get some parts coming for this thing and we'll continue on in next week. So we're back working on this 2019 Rav4. We opted to replace the entire fuel pump. The whole complete assembly is $50 more than just the pump assembly. You can change just the pump assembly in here, but I opted to replace the whole thing. So I've got it out. It lives under the passenger side or driver's side rear seat. I've got a new seal as well. There's a connecting tube across the other side. So believe it or not, I don't have the proper tool to take this off, so I'm using two pry bars. And it's got to go another 1/4 of an inch. Now I'll try it with a hammer and a... There we go. That's it. So once the lock ring is all the way to the end here, you can see, put this little plastic secondary retainer in and then pull the plugs off, put the connectors back on and the fuel line back on. So we're going to do a network code scan and then we're going to clear all codes and then rescan it. So we had the low refuel rail pressure code, random cylinder misfire, likely because of low fuel pressure and fuel starvation. It's in the cruise control, which is the ECM as well. And let's see how far we are along here. 18, 19 controllers. I'll pick up when it gets to the end. Well, that was painfully slow. 28 controllers. It's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's one way to increase the billable hours, I suppose. It's still not finished. Now it's finished. 29 controllers. So let's see if we have any other concerns. No. Hopefully the network code clear doesn't take as long. Go back. Clear all codes, read by code scan. Key on, engine off. I should have put a battery charger on it. The battery voltage is down to 11.5. We'll cycle the key off once it's done code clearing, and then look at fuel system data parameters again. We really need 29 computers in a vehicle. Well, 28, because the engine control computer gets reported twice as OBD generic as well. So I'm going to shut the key off and cycle it. Let's see, what would it be under? I forget what. Well, let's try primary data. There's high pressure fuel pressure. Snap-on, we need a keyword search. This takes too long to scroll through all these data parameters. It's easy to miss them. There's the fuel pump control duty cycle. Well, I'm going to look around and find the data parameters I need. So there it is running now, and right now it's running on direct injection. You can see the high pressure in PSI of 560 matches desired. The low pressure fuel pressure of 40 matches the desired of 40. But after a few minutes, it's going to switch back to port fuel injection. I'll pick up when it does that. So watch what happens when I accelerate slightly. It'll switch to port fuel injection briefly. I'm going to shut it off and restart it quickly. So now you see it's in port fuel injection. And if you watch the desired and actual high pressure fuel pressure, it's going through a hot soak, so the high pressure fuel pressure like 2900 psi. It's back to either now. I've never seen it run in either mode. Now it's back to port. And the actual fuel pressure on the high pressure side is trapped in there, so it's going through a hot soak. So we're going to take this for a road test, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. If there's anything additional, I'll continue this video. If not, thanks for watching.